shit, I'm looking at the wrong screen.
Good evening and welcome to season 2, episode 2 of the Just Saying podcast. And Sean is back from wherever he was. Sean, welcome back. And Bromeo, how's it, gentlemen? We are two things. It's the start of the RSC season, but also very importantly, the official and now complete end of the RLCS season.
Well, I've got such mixed feelings about this season. It's taken me on such a wild journey. It feels so short and so long at the same time. So I am very sad that the season is over. We've done some very cool things this year, even though I'm absolutely washed the game. The broadcast we put on was absolutely cracked. So I'm really, really happy about that, and I'm sad that I don't get to hang around with Pyro and Australian and Machtfish, because they were great. But as far as the local import teams, I'm glad that I don't have to deal with that for another couple months.
I have a problem, and my problem is this: is that I try and quell my optimism because it's so often unfounded. And I've been so emotionally wrenched throughout this entire season. I couldn't wait for it to be done. And then it was finished. And we finished the 1v1 broadcast last night. And I was like, oh, it's done. And then I was like, yeah, but next season's going to be great.
Oh, man.
And then I'm like, yeah, and we've got RSC, and then we're going to get great announcement. It's the 10th anniversary of Rocket League. They're going to announce something better than a new set of wheels. And there's going to be good announcements. It's all going to be great. But that's the way it is. And Sean, I know you seem to have had a passing interest in RLCS. You major in RSC, so your time to shine is we're at the start of that.
You guys are more involved in RLCS than I was in a certain sense. But here's my domain. This is my world now.
You have no power.
Yeah. Well, welcome to my house.
Put me out of my misery with RLCS and the EU bullshit. But I'll be full horns over here in RSC.
As you should be. Let's say hello to everyone that's here. There's a lot of people in chat. Hello to everybody. I fly away. Wabbit is here. Dank Avocado or Dunker Avocado. We haven't decided on it. Berserker, Silver, Chaos Dad. Who else? Eben Fenta, Drew Moment, Nobody, So Pegasus, Borky, Hecky, and Samantha's here. And okay, so because of my horrible lack of cultural education, how do we say Samantha's tag there? Naori Mizuki? I think it's every time I see it, I'm never sure how to say it.
Why do you feel bad about not being able to pronounce that? I mean, there's names in RSC you can't pronounce.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like I should know this, and I feel like I expose myself if I anyway. I should have asked because I actually did a little interview with her a few days ago, so I should have asked, and I should know this. So I have to apologize. Ramen Snipes, Mercury, Ginger Mars, Raids, of course, and we have to say hello. Raids is pushing all the buttons and producing this podcast. I'm eternally grateful to him. Papito. Ads Rex is here. Stones. Who else? Oh my goodness gracious, there's a lot. Reptic. And Color Cold. Okay, good. So hello to you all and welcome. Let's get the show on the road. I said Rabbit. Rabbit was one of the first.
No. He helped you with your pronunciation.
Oh, did he?
Name. He gave you a
Naori Mizuki. There we go. Okay, I'm happy now.
The pronunciation right. Wabbit would be that guy. Like I see on his Discord listening to K-pop all the time. So do you know what I'm loving is in chat we're seeing so many names that I only see during RSC season, and that's not a bad thing. It just means RSC is awesome. But
yes.
It just keeps me realizing how big this community can actually be sometimes.
When it's South Africans, yeah.
It's bang, guys. I feel like we're waffling a lot. We need to get down to business here,
no, people are
because we're
waiting.
here. The main reason we are here, we are announcing the 10 orgs, the 10 franchises that will be participating in RSC this season, that will be running teams, and on which RSC as an organizer, as the central point of that community, is going to be helping to drive those orgs. We want to be an org-driven community league, and that begins with this season. However, there is one order of business we have to talk about in closing the RLCS season. The season ended yesterday with the 1v1 Open, the SSA 1v1 Open, which came to a close, and myself and Pyro, with a little bit of late help from Quanzek, were casting that. ACGL put on a stream, and importantly about that is we all know that DSTV, the last 3 main regionals were on DSTV, but it was on one of their extra channels. Yesterday, the 1v1 was on one of the main SuperSport channels, which exposes us to a far bigger community. The numbers on how many people watched that, we will have at the end of the month, unfortunately, only. But by some comparison, ACGL have a weekly show on that channel, and they get a viewership of about 35,000. So we're hoping for some excellent numbers, and there'll be a bunch of people, a whole herd of new people who would have been exposed to Rocket League, and hopefully that helps to grow the scene as we go forward. And it does mean that when RLCS rolls around next season, will be on those. SuperSport are very keen, dead keen, to have more Rocket League on SuperSport. So that's a huge innovation for our esport this season. So big up to ACGL for negotiating that, figuring that out, and getting us on there. And that does bring us to the 1v1. And what I was happy with is I thought that 1v1 was the one game mode where we would be completely obliterated by EU players. And from the start, around 230, 240 players signed up for the 1v1. And by the time we got to the top 32, 50% were SSA, 50% of the top 16 were SSA, and then 50% of the top 8 were SSA. And that's where we were coming into Saturday. Unfortunately, To Die For and Snowy were pitted up against each other in an elimination match. Snowy winning there 4-2, and then Willow being eliminated by Motion 4-1. And then in the upper bracket, Sweaty Clarence was in the upper bracket. He lost to Revezi 4-1, and Nugget beat Ivan 4-0. And then coming into Sunday, Ivan and Snowy, that was an epic showdown. Ivan was 3-0 up, and Snowy almost pulled off the very unlikely reverse sweep. But I don't know how much of that, if either of you two saw that series. It was the most unsnowy performance I've probably ever seen. He was definitely not on top form, but he did remarkably well to bring 3 back, but then went down in Game 7. I don't know. I know you were working, Bromia, but I don't know if you snuck in some. Yo, you did watch it.
I watched all of it. I was amazed, honestly, because some of the 1v1 performances that we saw yesterday were incredible. And we're touching upon the Ivan and Snowy fixture right now. He almost. I saw that he was getting absolutely demolished, and I'm like, wow, this is going to end quickly. And then I went away to do something, and I saw he was, 2 back. And then he took the 3rd game, and I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Greybeard's busy losing his mind. And I was just like, okay, cool. We've never seen a reverse sweep. And he almost had it. I felt like it was destiny. But honestly, the game that I was truly, truly impressed by was the Sweaty Clarence Nugget game. And look, it says that he went down 4-2. He went out in Game 6. But it doesn't actually show you how close those games actually were. There's so many times where I think in one game he brought back, I think it was 6 or 7 goals.
Yes,
unanswered to, match him, and it was insane. I've never seen such a good game of 1v1.
That is, for me, the single greatest or the greatest single game of Rocket League I've ever cast was that particular game you're referring to. And we've spoken about how emotionally, the emotional turmoil that this season has been. There are two things that gave me such hope or made me feel so good. And one was Wilu getting as far as he did. And he just looked so great. And I was just, he got a top 8 in this tournament, and I'm so enormously proud of him. And then the other one was Sweaty. Of the 3 players on Limitless, he's the one guy to me that seems like locked in when it comes to Rocket League, and he wants to go places. And we could literally see him evolving his game during the tournament. He got better and better. And that game, I think it was either game 3 or game 4, it was the highest goal tally of the entire tournament. 21 goals were scored. And at one stage, he came down from 8-2. He was 8-2 down against Nugget and scored 6 goals on the trot to equal it. They then had traded goals to 10-all, and then Nugget stole it 3 seconds from time at the end. But those 2 players gave me a lot of hope, and it was just, it was glorious to see. So big shout out to him. And Nugget, when I saw that Nugget had signed up a couple of weeks ago, as soon as I saw he was there, this guy came second in the EU Cash Cup 1v1, lost to Morksy. And as soon as I saw he had signed up, I knew he was taking the whole thing. And the only player to take any games from him, this guy was sweeping everybody all the way from qualifiers. The only player to take any games from him was Sweaty Clarence. 1 game in Swiss earlier on, and then 2 games yesterday. So huge shout out to Sweaty.
Yeah, he played so well.
But then, so the way the back end of this season has gone is that there was no SSA representation in the final. Revezi and Nugget playing and Nugget sweeping his way to the championship there. And, I've by and large made my peace with this situation. But what does frustrate me is that the prize pool, just for the 2 players at the end, first and second place, combined is $8,000. What's that? About 150,000 rand, 140,000 rand, somewhere around there.
Yep.
And that's 140,000 rand that's not coming into our economy, not coming into our region, quite literally leaving our region. And that burns me more than anything else. But we're not going to rehash that topic. So there we go. That's the wrap up.
You did it right now. Now you made me upset. Like, I was doing fine.
You put such a damper on the mood now, Gribby. Thanks.
Yeah.
I ruined everything.
Such an exciting stream.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
well, that's it. It is now done. And now, and again, I'm in the optimistic phase of there's going to be great changes. Thanks for not leaving, Bromeo. Good to see you're still here. There we go. That's probably the last we're going to talk about RLCS for a while. We'll have a little bit of a break. There's a major coming up at the end of the month that nobody really cares about. And then there's Worlds that nobody really cares about other than what EU, Sam, and Mina are doing, and maybe North America. But that's that. Now we get to talk about RSC. And that is going to dominate our conversation for the next 3, 4, where are we now? June, July, August, September, October. The next 4 and a bit months is going to be RSC all the time, all day, every day. And that's and my hope and wish, Sean, and I address this to you in particular, is that we feel this excited at the end of it.
Well, we'll see. It depends on the people involved, isn't it? How many tickets are going to happen, but, beggars can't be choosers at this point.
We should say at the outset, we are issuing an open call for assistant general managers, AGMs. There are a number of the orgs that we're about to announce who are looking for help in that regard. If you want to be Bromeo, detail what does the role entail?
All right, so we're changing it up a little season on season. We're changing it up a little based on RSC EU, the original, and us. So like we mentioned in previous podcasts, the orgs that we're about to announce are already existing orgs. They exist within the SSA scene. So going to AGM for one of them means that not only are you helping out with their RSC side, but you're also getting a deeper insight into how their org runs. So if you've ever been interested in getting involved on the management side of esports, especially at the higher level, some of these bigger orgs are looking for an AGM because they haven't been thusly involved in RSC before. So it's an exciting opportunity. There aren't that many spots available. There's a couple, 3 or 4 tops. So if you are interested in applying for a management position, drop myself or Greybeard a DM and we'll put you in touch with the right people. And we'll announce the orgs as we go. And if they are looking for management, we will let you guys know.
And there you have it. So this is your time. Get in touch, and while we're on the topic, if management's not your thing, there are lots of roles that we're looking for help with. So we have a channel in our server where you can fill in an application if you want to be a caster, a statistician, an admin. All sorts of roles are available to the community. And now let's get to our announcements. First announcement, and I can't believe we didn't make this announcement last week, is that RSC Season 4 is licensed by Psyonix. So we have been granted a license by Psyonix, which means we operate RSC Season 4 with their blessing in as much as we needed and or wanted that. And there are a few implications of having a license, and one of them is that we can use their branding, and I teased that a little bit on our starting screen. You would have seen the featuring Rocket League. We're officially allowed to use that branding. And then, secondly, and really importantly, is that we have admin permissions, which means during our streamed games, we will have an admin in the games, in the lobby. And if there are tech issues, we can pause, we can reset, we can change what we need to change, we can supply all the admin support that is needed for the on-screen games. So that is great news. And the reason we didn't announce it last week is that we actually got the license. We applied early this year and got the license in January, and it was like, okay, don't tell anybody. We'll announce it closer to the time. And then we all forgot.
That actually is the insane thing, is like I've been sitting on my cute little Silver 3 account. I've been sitting with admin perms for, the entire of 2025. And I completely forgot that I had them, and I think that's absolutely massive, because it puts us on par with very, very few tournament organizers who are able to pause the game, and I don't know too many in SSA that can. So I'm not going to list names, but just know that it's super, super, super rare, and we are super lucky to be granted this opportunity, and
can't wait to rig all my games.
That's great, Sean, but keep in mind you will ruin it for all of us, because
I know.
I have a feeling. No, I know, but you know what? Someone clips that, and you know what? It's easy to get cancelled these days.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. But it's fine. I've already got 2 titles under my belt. It's not like I need to cheat to get another one.
He can retire now.
All right. Well, that's our first big announcement. Now we're going to announce the orgs, and the way we're going to do this, because it's obviously the fairest way to do it and make sure that we don't show favoritism one way or the other, is that we are going to announce the orgs in alphabetical order, and we will take good comments and questions from chat if there are any as we go through. So 10 franchises, and to reiterate what Bromeo alluded to, all of these that we're going to announce are orgs, franchises that are already involved in the SSA scene. Some of them are established orgs. Some of them have grown directly out of the community, and we've wanted them to be involved. So just be aware of that. So in alphabetical order, our first org, the first org that we announce for RSC Season 4, here they are.
That is where Jira started, just a community. And now with Season 4, we had another opportunity to be part of RSC again, and that just helps us to be the bridge between a normal community and going to a professional esport competitive org. And with that, it just helps us grow. With Season 2, we had an opportunity to be a franchise in RSC, and surprisingly we won the prospect tier and also did very well with the other tiers. When Season 3 came, we missed out, and that just showed us how important it is to us and how more we want it as we step out of being more than a community, and also help RSC to become one of the biggest tournaments in South Africa.
I am so delighted by that. What was that?
I just said that's so cool. I love that. Mr. Graphics guy, who was this you, Graybeard? Editing is on point.
You know what? I have to say, so I did all the other videos that are coming up. But that one was done by Silver. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, I can help with videos." So he did that intro, the intro and outro bit, and that appears on all the videos. So he did that, but he edited his own video, and so I gave him grace because I said it has to. I said the video's got to be around 40 seconds long. He went for 1 minute and 6 seconds. I was like, you know what? He did his own. I'll give it to him. But I'm incredibly delighted.
Someone in chat, literally, I had to mute. Sorry, Greg, but I had to mute myself because someone in chat said, "Bro, it's like an 80% opacity," and I don't know why that made me laugh.
But Azura Gaming is a direct, for me, that is a result of RSC. Azura started some time ago, as Silver said, with him and a bunch of mates. But through RSC, they sort of came into the scene, put together, they competed in 2 seasons and have gotten experience and exposure and have had success with it. And I'm delighted. Silver has been a gem in all of this and incredibly helpful with RSC, and no doubt he will have a number of roles to play. So welcome, Azura. Again, your 3rd season of RSC. We hope it's another banger for you. Any other comments on Azura before we move to number 2?
I would love to touch on Azura for a little bit, because last season they didn't make it in. It's a really, really dumb story why they didn't, but long story short, they did not. And what I love about Silver and the guys is that even though they weren't picked, they weren't disheartened, and they sort of created a counterculture. We didn't get picked, so anybody else who didn't get picked, come join us. And they kept all the players who weren't selected for primary teams, kept them occupied with scrims and all sorts of things. They organized scrims for all of the tiers, and I just thought that was really inspirational, because they had nothing to gain from doing that, and it just shows how community minded Silver and AZG actually are. So when we were looking for spots for community orgs to come up and occupy the space, because we also wanted to make it very known that RSC will always be a league for those who have big dreams. And although there are currently orgs that we're about to announce that have been going for years, I felt like AZG deserved to be one of the few that came directly from RSC, like you said.
Banger. Welcome aboard. And Tubbsy, to answer your question, draft day is on the 6th of August, will be the live stream for draft day. Org number 2, here it is.
Not much gets done without people, and I guess community is people. In this game, without a community, where do we stand? Without it, well, I don't think we have a game. It strengthens the community by creating an opportunity for them to interact, play together. So that's how RSC benefits the community. I mean, with a strong community, Cosmico thrives, and we're in the business of Rocket League. So a strong community means the organizations thrive, and well, that means we thrive.
Cosmico, welcome to RSC. And RSC, Cosmico were founded by, they're a Canadian org coming out of North America and competing in RLCS since, I believe, the 2022-23 season. So they've been present and have become entrenched in the SSA scene in RLCS, and it was quite gratifying. Bromy and I had a conversation with Syntax and said, "Hey, this is our thought. This is what we would like to do." And he was I don't think he could have signed up any faster. He was like, absolutely, we are there. They love this scene so much, and they've grown such entrenched local roots. You saw Happy Meal representing them. He's running their operations here. So a banger inclusion in RSC.
I completely agree. It's absolutely massive. And speaking of massive, they had one of their biggest RLCS seasons this year. They were one of the few who had a really, really good one. And I've just got to say that of all the orgs who we approached, I think they were one of the first, and they were also one of the fastest to say yes. Like Greybeard was saying, is that we started, and then started the pitch, and then 15 minutes in, he's like, okay, cool. When do we start? And I was like, we haven't asked you to join yet. And so it was really, really awesome. And I think that's when we truly knew that we were onto something fun. So I'm so excited to see Cosmico join up. I think they're going to do some really cool things. They are represented by a couple of the community legends already. And let me read some of the names off for you. Let's have a look. So Cosmico is Papito, who's GMing for them this season, and supported by Unguarded Ace and Bruv. So it must be said that Unguarded Ace was GMing for Bro at some point. Bruv had Critical Force, and
Which also did very well.
Yeah, which also did very, very well. And then Papito, I know he's in chat. I can't remember who he managed
with,
for at some point.
He was with Critical Force at some point.
Critical Force as well?
Or was he just playing for them? I'm not too sure, to be honest.
I can't remember. But either which way, Cosmico have done a very, very good job of recruiting from the RSC base. And you'll see a lot more of it too. A lot of these orgs have gone, hey, who do we know that plays RSC and are really good at these things? And Cosmico are one of those who went, we have the people who have RSC experience, let's elevate them, and I love that.
Welcome aboard, Cosmico. Thrilled to have you, and hope it's a banger season for you. So that's 2 down, 8 to go. We've done Azura, we've done Cosmico. And then next up, number 3 is...
We are founded on community. We had nothing else to start us up apart from a few people with a dream and spreading that as far as it goes. In esports, for everyone, whether you're a player, caster, manager, no matter what it is, the more people you know, the more people you work with, the more doors you open, the better opportunities you're likely to have. And for us as an org, we feel that we can benefit a lot from learning a lot more about the SSA community and getting more players involved with us. And we hope we can help you the same way around.
Now, Space Crisp, who you see there, I'm just looking here. He messaged me on Discord in 2021. And if you see Space Crisp there, it's not like that man has lived a lot of life yet. He's still a young man. So this was 4 years ago. He messaged me. And he was doing stuff in the community then, and he was organizing some tournaments, and he wanted some help with stuff. And so we were chatting all the way back then. I think he was 15 years old and involved in the scene. And he then started, as he said there, like a group of mates, as so many of these things start. And then came out to compete in RLCS here in SSA last season, and did okay. Got a great roster with Jeff and Strudic, and they had guns at one point, finding their way. And this is a newly established org, but a very committed one, a very enthusiastic one, and one that's very interested in being involved in SSA. And so a combination of an org that's growing, but definitely coming out of the community. So delighted to have Space Crisp, and I know Flossie's been very involved with them. So Death Cloud, we're delighted to have you.
I'm pretty chuffed to have them in as well. He was one of the most enthusiastic GMs, managers, orgs that we approached straight off the bat. I think, he was in your DMs. He's been in my DMs as well. And when we were thinking about orgs to include, theirs was also a complete no-brainer. They had a deep run this year, and this year's RLCS. And hopefully, we give them something to do for another 6 months until the next one begins.
I love Drew's comment in chat. He says, "To be fair, who didn't have guns this year?"
I mean, I've been pretty on the guns jokes for a long time now, and I was gonna say, you can't really call yourself an org if guns hasn't played for you. So of all of these orgs, I think there's only like one or two that guns hasn't played for yet, and that's like Azura because it's RSC. So I love Guns, and I love what he does, and I love what he's achieved. So Guns, if you are listening to this, which I don't think you are, but if you are, just know that I am making jokes at your expense, but
it comes from a place of love.
Sometimes.
Mostly.
Mostly.
All right. Well, Death Cloud, Space Crisp, welcome to RSC. Good luck to you. So that's 3 down, which means 7 to go. And next on the list, alphabetically, of course, would be...
gives you a sense of feeling a part of something bigger. Well, I think being a part of a tournament like RSC provides a certain exposure to young talent, younger players. I would say longevity of the org and kind of history making in the scene is also a big part of why you want to be a part of RSC. As an org looking for new upcoming players that could be potentially signed to the org. Yeah, involvement in the scene in general in the off season is a big one.
There are few people who are more committed to SSA and loves being in the scene more than Mega Boom. And Genesix, pretty much against perception, are not an org of longevity. They haven't been around it was literally started by Mega Boom, and their first entry into competitive esport was SSA and Rocket League, and the level of support he has given to his players throughout the time they've been involved here has been quite remarkable to see. And he's a guy pretty much on his own and has funded all of this, and coming toward the end of the RLCS season, he said he's going to be sort of shutting down Genesix. He's not sure if he can continue with it. And then we had a conversation with him, and he was so excited to be a part of it that he wants this to go. And by return, the support, the players, Daps, Declan, Eli, as you saw there, are, they want to fly the flag for the brand. They want to keep it going, and that is fantastic to see. And as you saw, I was quite surprised that it was Eli who sort of showed up for the interview to represent Genesix. And at the end of the interview, I said to him, "So, how did you land up doing this?" And he said, I'm not entirely sure. Mega said I should just do it.
I love that so much. And I think, speaking of their logo, we picked them purely based on their logo. They're completely on
logo
brand.
potential, yeah.
Yeah, no. It's absolutely peak. And also because I want, Mega Boom to adopt me and give me cool stuff. So that's also why he's, in this league. If you're watching Mega, it's not because of that. I promise. It's purely based on the merits of your team. Yeah.
But an org and a man who is committed to seeing our scene grow, and where we find such people, these diamonds out there, we gotta make it a symbiotic relationship, and I think in as much as Genesix will bring something to RSC, this is also RSC supporting an org that has supported our scene. So more than delighted to have Genesix on board. And I see we got Daps and Eli in the chat, so that's good. Only Declan not there, but to be fair, Declan's a quiet assassin. He might lurk on a stream. He's not Mr. Chatty, but hopefully he is there and is around. But yeah, Genesix, we're delighted to have you. Welcome to the RSC. We hope it lives up to everything you're expecting from it. And so there we go. We are ready for the next one. And the next org is...
Because it enriches all who are part of its experiences. Even current pros trying to stay in a competitive environment, there is something in there for everyone. And that's what community is all about. Well, the RSC helps Monarch in many ways, in that we get to meet all these interesting players that we otherwise would never have come across. It's a way to get in touch with the grassroots level players. It gives us a way to potentially scout new talent. They get introduced into the community. So it's a symbiotic relationship. It's very, very necessary with the way things are going right now.
Two things about Rabbit. One is he always shows up to these things dressed as a man who is suave, dapper, and debonair. Shows up in a tie like a proper gentleman. And the second thing about Rabbit is I'm not an experienced video editor. I'm kind of learning. I'm trying to get better. I'm kind of happy with most of what I did in this little project. But Rabbit's hair gave me a big challenge. That was proper epic. That air has aura of its own.
Oh man, no. I think as the amount of trophies next to his name grows, and I think his hair does as well. So we give Rabbit a lot of stick, but he is quintessential an RSC main. He does incredibly well here, and really chuffed he's bringing Monarch into it. And one of the orgs who, I have been around the block, and especially, we're talking about other titles, but Rocket League, they've been here for a hot minute as well. So really, really chuffed that we get Monarch in. I know that there was a lot of speculation as to that teaser image that went out. Was it Monarch? Was it somebody else? I think it was Ender who put it onto the...
Oh, yeah, it was Ender.
Yeah, in the general chat. I'm sorry that we led you astray. We couldn't leak too early.
It was just you that led it astray, but anyways, gaslighting Bromian.
So Monarch have been around since 2017, and they've competed in quite a list of titles. Outside of Rocket League, they've done Valorant, FIFA, Sim Racing, and a lot of Call of Duty. Born out of the Call of Duty community, and So when they were making their, and we have to give a big shout out to Rabbit because he has championed Monarch being in Rocket League. I think everybody else in Monarch didn't quite get Rocket League, didn't quite understand it. We're like, we don't know. but it is Rabbit who has championed the cause for Rocket League. So Rabbit, well done. And I think this is going to be the third season that Monarch competes in the RSC. The first season was a little bit bumpy. Last season did banger, and Sean is under strict instructions not to talk too much about Monarch because he's going to be with the org, and we are going to get representatives from every org to be on the podcast in the weeks to come. And so Sean, you're not allowed to say anything about Monarch yet. Otherwise we only have one org represented here. Say what?
Who's Monarch? I actually forgot who they are again.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Well said. That is Monarch. So how many have we done now? I think, is that 4 or 5? 5. So we're halfway through. Halfway through. Let it continue. Org number 6 coming up.
Having a thriving esports community is incredibly important for the growth and overall survival of an esport. And so having a strong community is the best way for us to consistently improve and to keep that scene alive and thriving for season after season. Community has been the lifeblood of Omnius Gaming since day one. It's all about the people, it's all about the passion. And we want to mingle our passion for esports with your passion for Rocket League. And hopefully we can create something magical.
Omnius, welcome. And now Omnius is one of 2 orgs that are in RSC this season that have probably the most longevity in the scene, competitively who are very, very active in the scene and kind of new to Rocket League. They've kind of flirted with Rocket League, had a team in RLCS a couple seasons back. In the last split of this season, they had an org. But banger, we are thrilled to have them. So a big signing, and we had a meeting with all 3 of the 3 big cheeses of Omnius, and they have committed to this, and I think they're going to do awesome things for and with RSC this season. So welcome aboard, Omnius.
Yeah, that was one of those meetings where I was like, you know what, we'd only had like single people coming through, one at a time, and then Omnius rocks into the Discord call, all 3 of them. I was like, I'm pretty sure they do all meetings like this. I mean, it's intimidating.
We were being interviewed because we're throwing our weight around like, hey, would you like to be with RSC? They're like, yeah, well, come talk to the 3 of us here.
They were interviewing us.
Yeah. And we passed. We passed because here we are.
We passed. Yeah, no, we got to be on stream tonight because Omnius said we could.
I'm glad we're bringing orgs like Omnius in just to give them a better introduction to the Rocket League community, and rather than going through and having players like Olympic, But
wow, Sean. Okay.
No, but you know what? I want to know. I know I'm changing the subject a bit, but what happened to Olympic? I missed the guy. I missed
Olympics around. Do you know what? You are going to hear from Olympic far sooner than you might imagine. So stay tuned for that. I did see that Mega Boom suddenly slid into the chat 3 minutes after we stopped talking about Genesix, but I just wanted to give him a shout out. Mega Boom, we do see you there. Welcome, and we're thrilled to have you. So there we go. Omnius is our 6th org in RSC for season 4, which means our next one is
this is what this is going to mean for Rocket League SSA, is we can usher in a golden era by linking community and orgs. And obviously you want to share what you love doing with the people around you. That's why community is so important. It's not bound to one or another org. So the focus for me is is standing together, and if we can get the balance right of competitiveness and community, it's going to be great.
Now, Bromeo, you've got to be color cold as a man who's risen, who has come into the scene. I think through Bro and then RSC, but I mean, you must be delighted to see him there.
I am, and just a little aside, Color Cold's team, it was actually originally a Bro team, and not even RSC, RLCS, and I think it was one of the coolest things watching that org get picked up by Ox, and having them represented for RLCS, and it's not just the top 4 who get picked, and it's one of the biggest things. And I love that Ox has been in the scene, and truly in the scene, the entire time. And Color Cold now managing for them comes as no surprise, because Heki, who has founded it, has done such a good job of embracing the culture of SSA. So Sean was asking, are they truly SSA? Yeah, of course they are.
I'm not asking that context. Get it?
And
I won't make it sound bad.
Sean was like, can we trust them? They're European. And I was like, well,
It's
that's
PTSD,
debatable,
Bromeo.
but...
Okay.
So yes, they are. Heki is English, I think. All from those 4 small little countries that make up the UK, or they states. I don't know. This
Yeah, you might have just committed a huge sin, because if he's not English, if he's Scottish or something, you're
if he's Welsh, he's going to hate me forever. And these are questions that I should have actually asked beforehand. But then again, it's like finding out if a guy's from Cape Town. I don't care. So welcome. You are now SSA. You are no longer Welsh, English, Irish, or Scottish. And we look forward to seeing what Ox can do this season.
And it should be said, this is an org that has grown out of community, RSC EU into SSA, and you'll recall those keen observers, and I see Mercury mentioned it. He said RIP Unitox last season. Ox Gaming were here, but it was a combined effort between Unity and Ox Gaming, and Ox Gaming is now representing themselves wholly and completely in RSC4. And that brings us to the next.
Basically a place where you can share experiences, you can support each other. If done well, it is a place to belong. It is basically a kind of second home. The benefits of Shadow Esports are quite clear. We are a franchise that has a lot of experience with management. We have shown we can get also the job done in terms of lifting championships as well.
Shadow Esports, and a bit of a story there, because initially, we had taken this approach to have orgs that had involvement in RLCS, had been otherwise involved in the SSA scene, not just with RSC. And Shadow's got a long pedigree with RSC EU, been there for many years, many seasons. Mats, who you saw on the video there, has been instrumental in the management side of RSC, and was hand holder in chief in bringing RSC to SSA as we were fumbling our way through, trying to figure out how we run this league, how to put it together. He was instrumental in all of that, and has been such a key part of helping to build RSC and SSA. And there was a conversation about, look, we're not going to have the usual franchises. We want orgs that have been involved in SSA, and that's probably not going to include a number of the orgs that were involved last season. And then Bromeo, you can pick up the story from there.
So it is an interesting conversation. It's coming off the back of what you said, GB, is that Mats has been quintessential in making RSC SSA a thing. It would not be here, and it would not be as successful if it wasn't for Mutz. Mutz is the guy you go to when everything's falling to pieces, and he's always there when you need him. And he has done more for this local scene without saying a thing or about getting any credit for it. So to see him putting up his hand, because this is, carrying on with the story, is that we had open discussions. We're like, listen, we are not going to have half of the franchises that we had last season. And he's like, Shadow should be here. And I was like, I agree. But you don't have RLCS representation. It's like, well, pulls up a spreadsheet and shows me all of the teams he'd planned on bringing in. And I'm just like, well, that covers that then. So honestly, he has surprised me, and Shadow has surprised at their level of commitment, despite being originally EU. They've become entrenched in RSC SSA and the wider community, and I am so proud to bring them in as well. So Shadow and AZG are the only two orgs who haven't fielded a fully fledged RLCS team, and they were our two community picks. So going forward, I look forward to seeing both of them in RLCS and RSC as we help them help us grow the scene.
Mats is such a superhero, man. That man helped me throughout season 3 when you weren't there, bro, Mio. He was keeping me afloat while I was drowning. He saved me from burnout.
Well, there's the classic of
thank you.
Sung heroes and unsung heroes, and Mats is your classic unsung hero because he's literally someone who just grinds it out and does the work in the background and is incredibly committed. So Mats, I hope we've done you credit in everything we've just said. Welcome, Shadow, and I should say let roster mania begin with Shadow now looking for a roster, AZG maybe looking for a roster. And then Mercury's asked a very important question for the draft lottery. He said, are we going to do a marble race this season? I would love to find an alternative to the marble race. The marble races are fun, but I just think there's a better way to do it. So if you've got an idea of what we can do to sort of randomly determine the order of picks for draft day when we do our draft lottery stream at the end of July, please hit me up. I'd love to hear it. I'd love something a little more engaging than we had. That is 8 orgs. And Sean, you were asking, what on earth happened to Olympic? Perhaps we will find out with our 9th org.
You build more than just teams, you build friendships. Well, I've been here since season 1 of RSC SSA. Was able to play with a few great players, meet a few new ones, upcoming ones. And I also know that Unity has been here for quite some time. With the community that Unity has, we are able to build looking at players for the future. We do love to win, but we also love to have fun, and that is a priority.
We also love to have fun, and that is a priority. Olympic representing Unity. Does that answer your question, Sean?
Pretty much shot myself in the foot with that one, didn't I? Now I have to deal with him on an admin or on a franchise manager level.
Yeah,
can you imagine?
Absolutely, you've definitely cooked your goose there. But Unity.
Man, I am so chuffed to see Unity in, and even though it's with Olympic, which I think, they're actually nerfing themselves here, because Unity as an org are fantastic, so they had to bring themselves down a notch by signing Olympic. But
shots fired!
He is also the league's leading demo chaser by like a long shot. Like it's not even close. And and because combined since he started, I think he's double second place. It's ridiculous how many demos this man has got.
That number we saw, Romeo, that was just season 2 and 3. We haven't included
Yeah,
one
no,
yet.
it's absolutely disgusting how many demos he has. And you know what? Like he's busy chilling there with his controller, and he's I'm gonna demo this out. Guys gone. Okay, I'm gonna go for the next guy. Guys gone. And I sincerely hope that he comes with that same management style that we love and adore from him. So I thought we'd lost him. I thought he was busy out touching various species of grass. But it turns out the Kikuyu was boring, so he is back. And so, yeah, welcome Unity. Voodoo has been one of the long people in the scene, day ones. He was playing RLCS before RLCS was even here. So really, really glad to have Unity back. And yes, it's not unit talks, but when they're apart, hearts grow fonder.
I think it was quite important because when we first spoke, we spoke to Heki and Voodoo together, and I think initially they were quite keen to repeat the Unitox brand that they had done last year, but I thought it was important that they each go with their own unique brands, because I think they've both got things to offer to the scene. And in particular, Ox Gaming is fairly new in the scene. Unity, however, have been entrenched in SSA Rocket League since before there was RLCS. They were doing community things and had RLCS teams every season. They have been there. They were champions of high school Rocket League. The first Unity roster were all players out of the high school scene, and I've always had so much admiration for Voodoo in that he has continued it going, because it is easy. As we know, it is easy to just quote unquote start an org, think of a logo and get rolling and say I've got an org, and to keep going despite all the ups and downs and all the weirdnesses and bullshit and back and forth that comes with running that kind of activity, to keep it going. He then immigrated from South Africa, moved to the United Kingdom, and immediately got involved in RSC and EU, and then as soon as we had RSC here, he was here. So huge shout out, and a person and an org incredibly deserving to continue to have a prominent role within SSA Rocket League. So I won't say welcome, because you've been here all along, and we are delighted to have Unity and Voodoo once more. And good luck, Olympic. Yes.
Hold on. Unity's Voodoo is also one of the only managers to go colonize Europe. So he is one of our first invaders that side. He foresaw all of this and was like, you know what, we can give it back too. So he is out there in England, where the weather is awful, fighting the good fight for us. So just so you know, Voodoo, we see you. So yeah, keep it up.
Important question for you, Bromeo, in chat from Ibn Fenter. Will Alex de Fatak make a comeback?
Do you know what? Alex de Fatak is like Batman. He's always standing on a building somewhere in the darkness looking down, but with a French accent.
I can literally see it.
So Alex de Fatak, he is not watching this because he is also one of those people who's discovered grass. But I hope that he does come back, because he is one of the personalities of RSC. He invented Alex Cam. He's one of the few players during playoffs that had their camera on the entire time. So I sincerely hope, Alex, if you're watching this, if you do come back, and if he doesn't come back, just know that we are taking Alex applications to fulfill the vacancy that he has left.
And then Sir Pegasus made a comment about Voodoo, which I just want to say I saw, but I will not repeat on stream. But I did see it. Okay.
Oh, wow. I just saw it now. Wow, gross.
All right. So 10th org, our 10th and final org announcement for the night. Going alphabetically, we've gone all the way down to you with Unity, and now we move to our last.
community has always been a part of what Rabbit Gaming do and who we are. It is key for the sustainability of esports that we continue growing communities all over, not only engaging in those who play, but also those who want to play, those who want to cheer us on. This is a simple beneficial relationship as the players get to play under a big org name and get advice and tools to enhance their game, and in return we get to be part of something bigger than the brand.
White Rabbit Gaming, welcome to RSC. White Rabbit Gaming have been also involved in the scene for a long time. Casper has been with White Rabbit Gaming. I'm pretty sure he holds the record for the longest standing relationship of any pro player with any single org. And I see he's in chat. So Casper, you can tell us how long you have been with White Rabbit Gaming. And I think this is, for me, a great addition. An org that's been around a while, had their ups and downs like all the orgs. But I think this is a way that we can, as Alvain said there, as Switch said there, to have a symbiotic relationship, a beneficial relationship where they help us and in return we help them to become even bigger and greater and more established in the SSA scene.
Oh man, I love that chat that we had with Switch, and we call him by his government name Alvain, because it's just a cool name, and I love saying it, rolls off the tongue well. But really, really good ad. Casper's gonna basically tell us when RLCS started, because that's how long he's been with them for. So like 5, 6, 7,
4 years.
How
4
old is
years.
Rocket League? Because that's how long he's been with WRC. And I think one of the great things, and Pegasus, who's in chat as well, mentioned this, is that WRG did Unity dirty in RLCS. They sent them packing. I think it was just before top 8 or something like that. It was pretty heartbreaking, but it allows all of these rivalries to build further into RSC. So if you felt that like Unity were done wrong, type 1 in chat and hope that you get signed for Unity so that you can exact vengeance upon those who wronged you. But no, that's one of the biggest things I think is worth mentioning, is that we are doing this so that orgs can exist in the Rocket League consciousness for the entire year, so that you can see WRG from RLCS to RSC all the way through, so that new players coming up can develop relationships with each and all of these orgs, so that you can know the orgs that you support, who you want to, so you can see who they are, what they're about. And that for us is what was missing in RSC up until now, is that RSC has got to serve a purpose. And we are a community esports league, Rocket League. And we exist to make Rocket League awesome. So I think all of these orgs who've made it through, congratulations. I cannot wait to see each and every one of them playing, and I can't wait to see the fan bases develop. I want to see the stories. I want to see the rivalries.
There's one developing in chat right now. And it's still following on the Unity WRG one.
So WRG have been around since 2013, in the days when Switch there, Alvain was competing in StarCraft 2. They've dabbled in a game called Heroes of the Storm. That's a game I'd never heard of.
I've heard of it.
Sean Bromeo, anything?
I've never heard of it, but that's because I have a social life. But I know that Sean has, for not similar reasons.
He was also very proud to say that he was a sub for a Dota team, competing under White Rabbit Gaming, and they've also competed in League of Legends, Call of Duty, Apex, Sim Racing, Overwatch, and CS:GO. Right now, they're only in Rocket League and have been in RLCS for 3 years. So big up, thrilled to have them, like we are with all of the other orgs. So there you have it, and I think we've prepared a graphic to have showing all of the orgs that are competing this season. There you have them. This is the Rebel Underground version of all the Orgs logos, which Bromeo had commissioned.
I just got to say, I'm so chuffed how these turned out. And we're talking about Genesix, how they didn't need much work done, and because, you know, their logo is pretty much graffiti. But this season is all about doing things differently, doing things our way. So I'm really, really excited to see the way that this art style is going, and it sort of leans into some more announcements that we have coming along that I cannot wait to share, and I cannot leak for contractual reasons. But I am just so excited with the way things are turning out. I love that WRG logo. I love how Stone Cold Unity logo is. Death Cloud in the middle there looking amazing. And I think one of my personal favorites is Shadows. It just looks freaking awesome. So big ups to the artist who did these. Guy literally did these on a wall somewhere, and we just took pictures. So well done to them. And I'm just excited, man.
So what is the state of play as we stand right now for RSC Season 4? Sign-ups are open and will be open until the end of July. I'm correct in saying that, right?
Yes.
End of July. And in our first week of signups, at the start of the stream, we were sitting on 138 signups and counting. So I think I'm feeling more and more optimistic about hitting our number of 300 signups, which would be absolutely banger and a growth on last year. And if you're sitting in chat and have not yet signed up, or you want to send a sign up link to a friend, exclamation sign up will give you the sign up link. And if you aren't in the RSC Discord, exclamation RSC DC will give you the Discord link. Go and join up, and that's where you can fill out a staff application if you want to be on the RSC staff, where you can find all the information you need on how to sign up, how things are calculated in terms of the tiers and all of that very, very good stuff. So and yeah, go ahead.
I want to add, you know, we say we've got 138 signups. That means we're halfway to what we were last season, and we've only had signups open for a week, right? And we haven't, up until this point, announced the orgs. So orgs are now gonna go out on Twitter and hopefully say, "Hey, we're doing RSC this season, guys. You should come and check us out." And that'll reach, you know, some of the few eyes that we haven't reached yet. And so I know that Silver's saying, yeah, 350 easy signups. Surely, I hope so. Because that either means extra tiers or extra teams, and all of that is good for SSA, because, you know, the bigger we are, the better SSA is doing. So really, really, really excited about that. And just speaking of Silver, before we move on, he did message me. I did mention that last season, despite not being involved in RSC, they still ran scrims and did all of that for the players or the free agents who weren't picked. And Silver messaged me and said, AZG is going to have scrims again this season, and a place for all the free agent and permanent free agents to make it easier for orgs to come find scrims and all of that. So he's going to continue the good work he has promised me, and now it's set in stone on stream. So I just think that's an awesome initiative that they've got going, and I'm excited to see it grow.
The Fromeo is in chat asking if she can join the cheerleading squad. The answer, of course, is yes, and you are already in it. So yeah, there you go. And the Fromeo, in case it wasn't clear from the tag, the Fromeo is the Bromeo's fro. Just in case you need it spelled out for you.
She's my wife.
You're supposed to say she's your bunt, Bruce. She's your bunt.
If you don't get the jokes, it's from the Order of Oaks franchise that we ran last year. I still talk like that on occasion. I can't help it. It's just the inner bit that just comes out, and I just want to, you know, clap a Billy the Bums and smack a brandy. You know, it is what it is. But no, I think that the orgs that we've brought in and the exciting stuff that we have coming is awesome. And just seeing those franchise logos up on that wall, just like that, sort of cemented it for me. By the way, amazing editing work from Deploy, who is doing all of these cool things, and Mercy as well, and all of these new faces that we are seeing now helping out with RSC, bringing their cool talents, all the stuff that we could never do, have tried to do but failed, but that's why they're here now.
And Deploy, to clarify, is part of Genesis Extreme, who are our broadcast sponsors. They are our broadcast partners, rather. They will be producing and streaming all of our streams from the draft lottery all the way to the end of playoffs. They did a banger job last year and will do an even better one this year, just as we can see from the start of these exceptional graphics that we're getting. So great work to them. And where we go to from here. So last week we announced the start of RSC Season 4, gave the general overview of everything. Tonight we've announced all the orgs. And importantly, we wanted to do that early because we do want to reach an audience greater than what we already have. And the combined reach of all of these orgs will help to do that. Orgs like Omnius who have a reach beyond just Rocket League and so on. It's really critical that we start to get new eyeballs, new people interested in the game, and so on. So we've now announced the orgs. Next Monday, we will be announcing our sponsorship partner, who's going to be providing the prize pool and a little bit of funds for running things in the background. And we're going to lay out what that partnership looks like. And there's a really exciting element to that. A little competition we'll be running, which I think everyone is going to really enjoy. So tune in next Monday for that announcement. And then beyond that, every podcast after that, we want to have at least two representatives from two orgs, so we can get to learn more about each org, a little bit more in depth than we heard about tonight, and start getting information. I see there was a question in chat earlier about, when's there going to be an announcement about who are the GMs, AGMs, the staff of each org. We'll get the org representatives into the booth on the podcast so we can get all of that detailed, juicy information on every org as we lead our way to the end of signups and the draft lottery, draft day, and then we get into the thick of it with the RSC season. And I think that is all the big stuff for tonight. Chat, really important. We're talking about the number of signups. We're talking about the signups are looking good, but we do want this to grow. So if you have signed up, your job is not just to wait to be called up on draft day. You have to find at least one other person, one other person that isn't in RSC, and get them to sign up. It's the old, when you're evangelizing, as if every person brings just one other person in and they bring one other person in 3 weeks, we'll have signed up the entire planet to RSC. But that is an important element, is we ourselves have got to be evangelizing for it. So in your casual games, your ranked games, in your school, in your work, wherever you are, find other people and evangelize to them and bring them in. Preach the gospel of RSC and get them into it. Okay, Sean, sorry, I just glanced over and saw what you put in chat. I beg your pardon.
I wasn't going to say anything.
What do you mean you weren't going to say anything? You did say anything. You said it right there in chat.
I was reading Breezy's question. He said, what does the player MMR count or whatever consist of? I'm assuming he means the tier caps.
How that's calculated, yes.
That actually is a very question. Yeah.
Anyways, so that we don't have a timer starting on me speaking. Romeo. So the MMR tier caps, we don't have a set number from the start. We actually have to wait until we get a large number of signups, and then we start changing the tier caps based on how many signups we have, so that there's an even spread of players per tier. Okay, so that tier cap number or MMR number that you guys are looking for, that will only be really set in stone come close to the end of signups.
Yeah. And it's actually one of the most enjoyable things is seeing who's signed up and making sure that everybody fits, because Master Tier, in essence, is the top 25% of everybody who signed up. Prospect is the bottom, and Rival is the next one up, and Elite is the next 25%. So that's why tiers are never going to be the same. They'll be similar because there's always a similar rank spread, but occasionally there's some players who come in who've gotten absolutely cracked in the off season, and that pushes up tier caps. So once we start processing signups, like Sean has said, then you will find out what tier you fall into, in which tier that you will be engaging in combat, and just know that whatever happens, I am going to be in Prospect.
And just remember, guys, if you're teetering near the master line or near those lines where you can shift into or a different tier, it means it could change throughout the sign-up period. So just be mindful of that. Like, it happens. Unfortunately, you end up in master and you're like, how do I end up there? And then we have a lot of tickets open.
Well, if I don't make master, I'm going to demand a recount. We're coming to the end, so if there are other questions that you have and you want to get them answered now is the time to ask. And then also we would like to go and raid someone. There's no one that I'm following that I want to go and raid, so if there's someone that is live that you think is worthy of a raid, do drop it in chat so we can consider it. And we will see if there are any questions. No, I think we are good. I do have to say, I did see that Devour's dad has been convinced to sign up. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. And we should say, so that's someone around my age that's in the RSC, which is fabulous to see. So welcome aboard, Vinko. And we will not, and we can assure Devour that we will not judge him based on your performance in RSC. And if there's someone you want to raid, you can't put their Twitch link in. You need to just put their Twitch name, because randos aren't allowed to just post links in chat. You know how that goes.
You guys are randoms, Greybeard.
Yeah, all of you are randoms out there.
Says you guys are randoms.
Is Papa Capes live? I'm looking at who I'm following.
GTA.
He's doing GTA. If there's, I would prefer to do someone who's doing Rocket League. I'll do Papa Capes in a pinch. But if there is someone else, then who's actually playing Rocket? Who's Vaded ZA? Does anybody know Vaded ZA?
The only person I've got online playing Rocket League right now is Lawler.
Yeah, I see that, and he doesn't need our viewers. So,
yeah, truth.
All right, Tubbsy, give me Papa Capes' Twitch name as it is on Twitch, and then I follow him. I don't know why I'm not seeing him. It's kind of weird.
It's just Papa_Capes. That's it.
Papa_Rave. What? So
Papa_Rave, yes, 100%.
Papa_Capes.
So all the 5 people, the 6 people in chat, busy telling you exactly how to spell it.
Except I'm raised because he gave us the wrong case.
But right, I think did I start that raid? Did it go through? I did. Yeah, there we go. All right, guys, so Papa Capes is an OG of Rocket League. He doesn't really play anymore, so maybe go and encourage him to promote RSC to his community. He should sign up, and his streaming content should be RSC. Go and tell him that he should be there and doing this. So there we go. Let's go and say how's it to him now. I have to click a button somewhere for the raid as it becomes available. It is now available, and that will be it from me, from the Bromeo, from S Falcon. Next Monday we talk sponsor and then org details from there. This has been epic. Thanks for hanging, everybody. Peace. We're out.